Alright mates, how's it going? Today we're starting a new series, Lord of the Clans by Christie Golden. 20 chapters to this one, so it's going to take about 5 months to get through. But let's go! Durotan sat in a cave, thinking about how bloody cold it was. Even his wolf, Sharptooth, was shivering, whilst snuggling so close to its master that it was almost trying to burrow underneath him. It was odd, really. Durotan, chieftain of the Frostwolf Clan, had spent most of his life in the cold. You'd think he'd be used to it by now. But this wasn't his home. This was some alien world. Plus his entire clan had been exiled from the Horde, so maybe that was another reason why this place bothered him so much. A little snuffling sound from within the cave then caused Durotan to turn, and his harsh face, wrinkled from years of worry and anger, softened somewhat. His son, as yet unnamed, was making stupid baby noises whilst being fed. Durotan then rose and made his way towards his family, and watched as his wife Draka did a bit of boob feeding, and for a brief moment, that beautiful natural sight made him forget all of his worries, before they all came flooding back again and he sat down sighing deeply.
We have a child now.
Yes, a fine strong son, one that will lead the Frostwolf Clan after his father dies nobly in battle, many years from now.
I have a responsibility for his future.
Draka didn't interrupt, but she knew where this was going. She knew her mate far too well.
Had I not spoken against Gul'dan, our son would have more playmates with which to grow up. We'd continue to be valued members of the Horde.
And you would not have been the mate I joined with. Durotan of the Frostwolf Clan would not sit by and let our people be led to their deaths. With what you learned, you had to speak out.
Durotan nodded.
To know that Gul'dan had no love for our people, and it was nothing more than a way for him to increase his own power.
And then he fell silent, as he could feel the rage building up inside him again. Gul'dan, what a prick.
I spoke, and we were exiled. It's a great dishonour.
Only Gul'dan's dishonour. Your people are alive and free, Durotan. This is a harsh place, yes, but we have plenty of fresh meat. We can survive.
They deserve more. He deserves more.
Durotan then rose up and straightened to his full imposing height.
There were some who heeded me. I will return and find those chieftains. Convince them of the truth of my story. We shall no longer be slaves of Gul'dan. This I swear.
Why, you won't go alone. We shall come with you.
What? No. I forbid it.
I am Draka, daughter of Kelkar, son of Rakish. No one forbids me to follow my mate. Not even Durotan himself. I stand by you.
Some amount of time later, Durotan, Draka, Baby and Wolf arrived at the field camp of another chieftain, one Orgrim Doomhammer.
I regret that I placed you and your clan in jeopardy.
If word reached Gul'dan that the Blackrock clan were entertaining such guests, they too would be exiled. But Orgrim didn't give a shit.
If death is to come for us, it'll find us behaving with honour.
Doomhammer then escorted them into a tent and provided them with food and drink and stuff, and once they were all settled, Orgrim then attempted to make some small talk by pointing at the baby and saying,
A fine strong boy. He will make a fitting leader someday. But we did not come all this way for you to admire my son. You spoke with veiled words many years ago. I wished to protect my clan. I was not certain my suspicions were correct until Gul'dan imposed the exile. Listen, my old friend, and then you must judge for yourself.
And so, in soft tones so that nearby guards didn't overhear, Durotan then told Doomhammer everything he knew. The bargain with the Demon Lord, the obscene nature of Gul'dan's power, the betrayal of the clans through the Shadow Council, all of the things. Doomhammer listened, forcing his face to remain impassive. However, deep in his chest, his heart was absolutely pounding. Durotan then finished his explanation, and there was an awkward silence for a bit, until...
I believe you, old friend. I can assure you, I do not stand for Gul'dan's plans for our people. We will stand with you against this darkness.
The look of relief and gratitude on Durotan's face was palpable. He immediately extended a hand and did a little bro shake with his bezzy.
Unfortunately, you can't stay here, though it would be an honour to have you do so. One of my personal guards will escort you to a safe place. I will do what I can on your behalf, and when the time is right, you and I shall stand side by side and slay the betrayer Gul'dan together.
Doomhammer's personal guard said absolutely nothing as he led Durotan and his family out of the encampment and into some nearby woods. But soon enough, they arrived at a secluded and verdant clearing.
I knew Orgrim could be trusted. It will not be long before.
However, the Frostwolf Chieftain froze mid-sentence. Something was wrong. A nearby snap of a twig was enough for him to reach for his weapon, but the intruders were upon him in an instant. They'd moved so silently and quickly, it took Durotan a few moments to realise he'd already been wounded, with a bloody great axe gash in his leg. A brief sharp howl filled the air, followed by more silence. They'd taken out Sharptooth effortlessly. Whoever these attackers were, they weren't behaving like good honest orcs. These were assassins. But the thought of his son gave Durotan enough strength to fight, despite the severed artery in his leg. He picked himself up through sheer adrenaline and surged forward, grabbing a nearby figure by the throat and squeezing hard until he heard a satisfying snap. Durotan then turned to find his next target, only to be met with a sight that instantly destroyed him. Draka, hacked to pieces, lying in a pool of her own blood. Durotan knew he didn't stand a chance. Grievously wounded and emotionally distraught as he was, he knew he was about to die. There was no point in trying to defend himself, so, instead, he rushed towards the small bundle that was his baby. However, his wounds and blood loss chose that moment to be too much for him, causing him to collapse to the ground before he could reach it.
Please, take the child.
Your child will be left for the forest creatures. You can watch as they tear it to pieces.
And with that, the assassins were gone, leaving as silently as they'd appeared, and Durotan lay still, unable to move, staring with failing eyesight at the image of his son, until everything went black, because he was dead.
By the light! What a mess!
22-year-old Tamis Foxton emerged from the woods, a little bit taken aback by the sight of 2 dead orcs, a dead wolf and a whole bunch of blood. This was not what he'd expected to find whilst following the extremely annoying shrieking noise.
There, Lieutenant. I guess that's what's been making this damnable racket.
Another figure emerged, one Aedalus Blackmore.
I've never seen a whelp before. That's the ugliest thing I've ever seen.
The lieutenant gave the little orc baby a nudge with his foot, which I shall just describe instead of showing because I'm pretty sure animating a baby being kicked is a bad idea. Now Aedalus had already downed at least 1 bottle of booze, but his mind was still sharp enough to form an idea. So he picked up the little monster, and almost immediately it stopped crying.
Interesting. Her infants have blue eyes, just as humans do. Tamis, did you know that you have the honour to serve a brilliant man? Of course, sir. But, why is that relevant right now? Because, my dear boy, I'm holding in my hands something that's going to make me very famous, very wealthy, and best of all, very, 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 very powerful.